All right, guys. So here's the deal. Twitter has just first they started with censoring my space call, and then that got me really angry. And then they started with this like whole rate system, and I thought that was something that I was dealing with on top of the censoring on the space call. I didn't realize everyone was dealing with that, so I definitely stepped back a notch of the anger. But like if you just scroll through Twitter right now, it's fucking gangster. Like everything is Mullen or Jesus. I mean, I don't know if it's just because what I'm liking and like the new algorithm only gives you what you like, but like when I scroll through Twitter, I love everything I'm seeing right now almost. And so that's cool. And then I just applied for the blue check mark like 14 hours ago, and it says it takes some time to verify you. And so I'm waiting to be verified. But I'm pretty sure Elon's not the worst guy in the world, and that in the end he'll be forced to give me the blue check mark. And that when he does, because I'm paying him for a service, the limits in which other people can attack me and maybe people within his company can attack me change. And the message gets stronger, better, all the good things. So I don't know exactly, but I'm excited for it. But anyways, like one of the major things I see on Twitter that's still going around that I don't like is people claiming that the Earth is flat. Now I've traveled all over this world by plane, by car, by everything, and I have done enough. Like, I mean, I graduated with a scholastic diploma in high school, top 70 in my class, and I dominated AP Physics. And the guy who was valedictorian the year before me was taking the same class, and he would get mad sometimes because my test score would be better than his, and I was sleeping through class and he wasn't. So I learned enough to know that like most of what we're taught in school is actually true, mathematically for sure. No doubt, mathematically for sure. I mean, I haven't been to school in the last 14 years, so I don't know what they're teaching anymore, but I know what I learned. And what I learned was strong, it was powerful. But I mean, after junior year, the math I learned didn't take me nowhere. Like, I never had to learn that math to get to where I am today, to build a roofing business, to do anything that I wanted to do. The only thing that I would have ever gone to school for was college or engineering. Or not college, but coding. But anyways, so we're going to talk about why the Earth is round. And it's because when NASA shows you pictures of the universe through these giant, beautiful telescopes they are creating, they are real. But what they don't make perfectly clear as they show you these marvels of the universe is that when they take these pictures with this technology, they are seeing faster than the speed of light. And so that the light that they are seeing is trillions of years old, and it's the beginning of time and creation. Okay? So, like, if God snapped his fingers and all planets and universes inside of space were created, and Earth was just a ball and it had to mature and grow into its beautiful source of life, then when we look into the universe, we see that the space never ends. We can't find the end of space. And we see that 67 trillion years ago, there were planets still created before they say the Big Bang happened. So, the most important thing about space, like the thing that solidified to me that space is everything it claims to be, and everything that people have said it is for thousands of years, and all the constellations created out of the astrological signs Like they're all legitimate. Like they're all based in something that was studied, researched, and then approved by some general source of approval of what's allowed to be said and what's not allowed to be said. And so, like, these things were said, they were agreed upon, and then they were solidified as fact for all time. And they haven't changed for thousands of years. And when you read the Bible and you try to connect the few times that it talks about the stars in the heavens and how they'll align at some times of great importance, you see that, well, I mean, I'll just tell you the best story. The best story is probably the Star of Bethlehem, and I'm really praying that July 9th we get a second Star of Bethlehem, and that, because, if you look at Venus at night from, 8 to 10 p.m. Arizona time, it is the brightest star in the sky by so much magnitude. Sometimes it's the only star in the sky, and definitely when the sun comes up, it's already shining, and you can see no other star. And then as the other stars come out, it's still shining. Even on the cloudy days, if you keep watching the stars, you'll see it shine through the clouds a lot of the times. And so, some scientists claim that the Star of Bethlehem was when Jupiter and Venus were shining brightest and at the exact same point from our view. And if you're up till 4 a.m. at night, Arizona time, you'll see that Jupiter shines the second brightest star I've ever seen. And it's maybe half the magnitude right now of Venus. But they're at different times of the night right now. And so I'm really praying that they're about to connect. But if we don't get a Star of Bethlehem, we've already gotten enough back in 2017. So check this out. There is a part in the Bible where it says the woman, the stars in the heaven will reveal a woman with, I can't remember if it's a crown or something else, because I know that there's also a snake with a crown. But there'll be a woman with, there'll be a woman with 10 stars above her head. And there's a constellation, I believe it's Leo, the lion, which is 7 stars, including the greatest, big red star. And the Bible says something about the red star. But it's only 7 stars, and the Bible says 10. And so, mathematically, back in 2011, there was a Christian scholar, I can't remember his name, but, he's probably a pretty good dude. And he said, guys, I made a discovery, come look at this. And you can go back in time, and there's a bunch of times where it looks like it's close, but supposedly there's only one time where it's ever actually happened, and I'll go into that later. But let's talk about the time that it happened in 2017. And so this guy in 2011 says, come look at this. And before it happens in 2017, everybody has already agreed this is the sign that says the second coming of Jesus. And when I say everybody, I just mean the 1,000 people that peer-reviewed his study. Oh, man. And so, but here's the thing. So if you continue to read into the Bible, it partly suggests that this isn't necessarily the second coming to set the end days, but this might be when Satan is at his strongest point, and every day thereafter Satan gets weaker until a miracle happens. And so I can't see that miracle being longer than 7 years, but based on the only other time that supposedly the miracle has been seen, it would suggest that November 13th of this year, whatever needs to happen is going to happen. So, here's the full sign. The sign is that Virgo is here. The sun and the moon are at her feet. There's 3 planets of our constellation with the constellation, the Lion, and then that might be all. And if you just watch, you can go back in history and rewind the solar systems, and you can see where the planets were thousands of years ago on what is it called? I'm not going to remember it right now, but it's like NASA technology, and you can download it on Stellarium. Stelliarum, I believe. Something like that. But Stellarium. But basically, you can download the software and you can look back at how the stars were aligned thousands of years ago. And if you look for all the signs the Bible speaks of and then you add it to that software, the only other time that it says that this has happened is back in 1827, September 23rd. So first of all, it happened September 23rd, 2017. Second of all, my birthday is September 23rd. Third of all, on September 22nd, 1827, Joseph Smith announced to the world, and it's in like newspapers, that Joseph Smith has now claimed, like all the crazy stuff he's already claimed, but now he has claimed Angel Moroni has visited him and given him golden plates, which he plans to transcribe into the English language and prophesy as an additional amendment to the other Bibles. And if you understand what Mormon means, it means more good. But here's the thing that the Mormons destroyed with the Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith only prophesied and preached from the New Testament. The whole Mormon church was built off words from the New Testament. He didn't bring the Book of Mormon to overrun the New Testament. He brought the Book of Mormon to solidify who he was, so that the government, he is one of the few churches, the very first church, to convince the government that he has the right to build his church without worrying about taxes or anything the government has to say. He gained that religious freedom through the Second Amendment by proving how holy he was. If you don't believe in that, you haven't studied the history. And so, what happened to Joseph Smith? For years after that, he's building his church, growing like wildfire, and then his members are being executed on the regular, and he's having to write like literal forgiveness notes to everybody for believing in him, but know that like this truly is God's plan, no matter how difficult it may seem. And then one day, November 13th, 4 a.m., maybe a little earlier, all the people of the city right outside where the Mormons had decided to build their community have 1,000 houses and 1,000 families. And they say, we are going to go kill every last Mormon tonight. Tonight is the night that their growth ends. And that was the night, November 13th, 1833, which is November 13th, 2023 this year, from the time of the sign. The greatest meteor shower of all time in history was seen in the skies, which protected the Mormons and made the people who would kill the Mormons run in fear and say, we can't do this, God will destroy us. That is so powerful. If that doesn't make you believe in Joseph Smith, like that, you're crazy. The only reason you should believe in Brigham Young also, everyone else after that is debatably questionable. I believe it was still okay for probably 7 prophets or so, but like it went dark south. It went dark fast, real south. But basically, Brigham Young was a man who had barely joined the church, and Joseph Smith Sr., Joseph Smith's father, was made the patriarch, who was allowed to bless people for their future, for their past life, and for their heaven life, and tell them what the world is going to be like if they choose to live righteously. And Brigham Young, having only been a member for maybe a month or two, but everyone knows him and they already love him, goes up to Joseph Smith and says, Joseph Smith Sr., and says, I would like my patriarchal blessing if that's okay. And he says, you see that piece of paper on the table right there? Go write your own future, bro. You give it back to me and I'll sign it. They said Brigham Young was without sin. He was a perfect man, is what they said. I am a 14th generation-ish. I think it's 14, but I could be exaggerating. But I am the descendant of one of my great 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 grandparents married one of Brigham Young's daughters and then was blessed with the authority to have polygamy marriage and married one of my great grandmothers. And so in the Mormon religion, they believe that whether it's plural marriage or singular marriage, that any marriage is sustained for eternal life. And they also believe that it's better a woman marry a righteous man over again than a woman be with an unrighteous man trying to change him. But what was I gonna say? I mean, the Bible definitely says it should be one man and one woman. But if I finally get my day of glory and there's 1,000,000 women and 100 men, I promise you we will be practicing polygamy. If it's even and everyone can earn their right, and I'm telling you anyways, like, it's better to be single until you've become exalted anyways. Like, find exaltation, then find your spouse is the perfect way. But God says, as long as you marry one person and be happy with it and treat them like yourself and always, like, put all your lusts and desires into that one thing, like, it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. But it definitely doesn't demand plural marriage, and so I'm only going to offer it if it's necessary. But we'll see. I know I kind of got distracted, and I'm trying to finish where I was trying to conclude this story. So Joseph Smith. Oh yeah, well no, it's about me being a descendant of plural marriage, and I'm the descendant of a second wife. And I'm the best there is, so fuck you. Oh man. Please call me inbred. I beg you. It only makes me more powerful. Yeah. So I mean, the Earth is definitely round. Stop confusing it. Like, we've been smart as a species for a very long time, and when they invented technology, everything we have today they solved in the year 2000, and they just didn't give it to us. They created the story of how they were going to give it to us, and I was just ready for it. They weren't ready for me. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.